Well, good morning, everybody. I'm reading the Sunday paper. I don't live here permanently, Sacramento, California, but I had a request for more local paper reading, so I thought I would do the Sacramento Bee. Okay? See the little bee? There's a little bee here. Yeah. The Sacramento Bee. Not the best paper on earth, but more of a big city paper than the one I was doing back when I lived in Scotts Valley. So, in case I get famished while we read the paper, I have this banana. It looks a little overripe, doesn't it? Maybe I should use it in a smoothie and do a different video on how I make smoothies. In fact, I am gonna do that. This reminds me of a famous line in a movie. The movie Sling Blade, if you've ever seen it. Very excellent film. I highly recommend it. But anyway, the implement that the film is named after, the sling blade, the main character, played by Billy Bob Thornton, who also wrote the film and directed the film, by the way, as well as starring in it. I think he got Academy Awards for it. Anyway, he has a famous line, which I always botch up and get backwards. So tell me if I have it wrong. And he says, when he talks about the sling blade, he says, "Some people call it a sling blade. I call it a Kaiser blade. It's shaped kind of like a banana." So shaped kind of like a banana. It's sort of a little inside joke. So, but if you have a banana that's got a lot of brown spots, it's probably ready to be part of a smoothie, right? Or to be used as a prop if you're talking about the movie Sling Blade. Anyway, we're talking about the newspaper. How do I get so far off? I don't know. The rise and fall of Papa Winks, it says here. Papa Winks. What happened with him? I don't know. It says, out of work and angry after the worst years of his life, he was a smooth-talking sales executive for lumber and construction in Humboldt County. But at 53, after the economy and his life cratered, he was reborn as an interstate marijuana trafficker, reveling in California's most infamous export economy. Isn't marijuana legal in California now? I think, for medicinal use, which means if you can go to any marijuana outlet and pay them $25, they'll give you a doctor that writes you a little chip that says, yeah, that person needs marijuana for recreational, medicinal use, okay? So, my home state, soon to be Oregon, has already approved marijuana for recreational use. So if I try to get a job up there, it will be easy because everybody else will be sitting home smoking dope, right? Unmotivated. Don't get offended at me, you dope smokers. I'm sure you're all very nice and everything. In fact, in my personal opinion, although I told you I'm avoiding politics, in my personal opinion, marijuana smokers are much less dangerous to society than excessive alcohol consumers who tend to, get in most of the accidents and kill people on the highways. Of course, nowadays, drunk driving is being rivaled by people on cell phones and PDAs when they're driving distracted. They're killing about the same number of people, believe it or not. That's why I tell you, at the end of all my videos, don't ASMR and drive. Okay, so what else is going on in the so this guy got caught for trafficking, and now he's putting his life back together. Let's see what it says. Oh, he has a federal monitoring device on his leg. Yeah. Well, having to strap that to your leg might be better than being in prison, don't you think? What else we got? Oh, was Baldwin, that would be Alec Baldwin, the wife beater who screams at his daughter, screams terrible things at his daughter on the phone. I don't know if you ever heard that tape on YouTube, but it's quite disturbing. Anyway, Baldwin, a victim of paint and switch. Let's see what this is about. It looks like he bought a painting for how much? He had to pay an extra premium on a painting that was something like $500,000 because he wanted an original Bleckner, whoever that is. Bleckner, Sea and Mirror was the title of the painting, but it turns out it was a fake. He paid $500,000 for a fake. Now he's not very happy about it. Court orders release of man in Netflix doc. A federal judge. Oh, I guess there was a documentary on Netflix called Making a Murderer, and now the guy got released. I don't know why. He was tried and convicted in a separate homicide, but his constitutional rights were violated. In other words, when they caught him with video of the crime and the gun in his hand and fingerprints, somebody forgot to say something nice to him, so he gets off. Okay, that's just my editorial comment. Okay. More information about the marijuana grower. That's kind of boring because everyone's legalizing it anyway, right? The future of weight loss. Dr. Lacey lost 62 pounds. Let's see what Dr. Lacey looked like before and after Dr. Lacey face. Can you see Dr. Lacey? Here we go. Before and after. How did she do it? Everyone always has the miracle weight loss cure, right? I had tried everything imaginable. My metabolism, blah, blah, blah. Are your hormones making weight loss impossible? We target your hormones to correct your metabolism. Lose 1 to 2 pounds per day. Okay, now I know it's bogus. It's impossible to lose that much weight. unless you're doing very, very heavy exercise all day. The human body does not consume enough calories, good metabolism or not, to lose 1 to 2 pounds a day. Uh-oh. This area, Sacramento Valley, is the agriculture center of the universe. Even people on Venus and Mars and Jupiter come here for their produce, okay? But it says, and we grow about half the groceries, produce for the entire country here in California, Sacramento Valley. But there's a problem. Farm communities are paying the price for years of fertilizer use. Pesticides and fertilizer and things is introducing too much nitrogen into the soil. It's getting into the groundwater, it says, and that's not very good. I'm wondering, nitrogen is the number one constituent of the atmosphere. So maybe it's that in its pure form it's not so good, right? Modesto built a special treatment plant. Okay, that's a town close by. You may have heard there was a good jobs report this last week. But this guy, Dan Walter, says job gains have not been even. What does he mean by that? Well, it means that when they report unemployment, they're not really being honest, because they don't talk about people who gave up on getting a job or retired early because they couldn't keep their job, or the underemployed who have a part-time minimum wage job, or any of those kinds of things. He says there are more than 1 million Californians unemployed. But that's an improvement from a few years ago in the recession when it was 1.1 million. It doesn't sound like much of a difference to me. Anyway, my throat's getting dry. I'm going to have to whisper. But I have ice, very hot here still. Okay, about 106 degrees where I am. And at night, it only gets down to about 90 degrees. And so for you folks in places like Sweden and Denmark, that means it's 43 or so at daytime Celsius, and 32, 33 even at night when I take my exercise walk at 10:30 or 11 p.m. All I have is ice with a little water. But that's still refreshing. But I have here, I popped the top already so that you don't have to hear a loud, jarring noise. I have here some Diet Coke, which they say is bad for you. But I don't drink it all the time, okay? Let's see if we get bubbles like our last video. Oh yeah, we're getting bubbles. I like it. I'll let you hear the bubbles. They don't last very long. Yeah, see, there they go. They're very quick, those bubbles. So I gotta sip this before it goes flat. That is refreshing, by the way. It's got a little caffeine in it. So what are we going to do about the farm communities? And I hope that guy's wearing a face mask. All that stuff spraying out. I can't tell by the picture. 5-day heat wave. Excuse me, Sacramento Bee, but it's been about a 4-week heat wave so far. But this says Southern California, okay. Here in Central California, it's hot from about, roasting hot, from about May 1st to October 31st. How many months is that? May, June, July, August, September, October. I have to count with my fingers these days, see. So half of the year, okay, it's miserably hot. Do I sound like I'm whining and complaining? I hope not. Because I have a lot to be thankful for. Speaking of hot, in battled Alabama. No, Alameda deputy. Man's in hot water. That noise in the background is the AC kicking on because it's so hot. What does it say he did? He sexually exploited a teenager. Even I never did that, okay? He told her that he would kill her and feed her to pigs if she ever said anything to hurt his job as a deputy. Well, I hope they catch this guy. I hope it says here, if the sheriff's spokesman said for the office of the sheriff's department, if these allegations are true, he will definitely be fired, and he will be lucky if he doesn't end up here in jail, residing in a place that he used to work. You know, when people exploit or harm children, I have to say, no penalty is too severe. Here's a story. I don't like reading politics, I told you. We are upset enough in life, and this is one of the toughest political seasons I have ever seen, if not the worst. I'm not going to comment on any particular candidates because normally in an election, if I took one side or the other, half of you would be mad at me and the other half would be supportive. But this year, if I took one side or the other, everyone would be angry and mad because it's a no-win situation no matter what, okay? So, but here's the important story. This little guy here, Kenny Baker, may he rest in peace, that little guy there, he was the guy inside the R2-D2 suit in Star Wars, and he played in more than one of the films. I guess he passed away. What does it say here? Kenny Baker, the British actor who rose to fame playing the robot R2-D2 in 6 Star Wars films. Wow, he was in a lot of those films. Died Saturday at the age of 81. I'll be happy if I get that far, so that's a good life, I think. How tall was he? Baker's height was reported to be, can you see it? His height was reported to be 3 feet 8 inches. I thought I wasn't very tall. Okay. He referred to his short stature as my height difficulty in an autobiographical sketch. He's a British actor. It says he had no speaking lines in the film because, as you know, R2-D2 just did clicks and beeps and things like that. I wonder if the clicks and beeps had a British accent to them. By the way, do you like British accents? Because I like them a lot. I particularly appreciate, what is it about us here in the U.S.? We love people with other accents. I am partial to British, Scottish, Irish. I'm partial to particularly the Polynesian languages. If you listen to a Filipino talk, for example, there's in Tagalog or anything like that, it's very melodious and beautiful to the. There's a lot of vowel sounds in Polynesian. I like Italian accent, Spanish, except they talk too fast, but why do they talk so fast? It's hard to learn it because they're talking so fast. I like a Northern European accent like Russian or Estonian and things like that. But yeah, of course French, although that can be a little bit stick in the throat from time to time. Sometimes it sounds like they're choking, never mind, you're gonna get, I don't want to offend anyone. French court rejects demand. You see, I was talking about the French. Maybe it's a subliminal thing. I saw the headline. A demand in Cannes, overturn a ban on full body head covering swimwear. In other words, a head-to-toe black ban over women has been banned in France. I'm not going to go into the political arena. I told you. But of course I have an opinion on this one, which is women should do whatever they please, okay? They shouldn't be punished, beaten, killed because they want to, wear normal clothes. That's just one guy's opinion. I also think it would be kind of nice in the 21st century if women could get a job and drive and walk the streets without being killed when they're unescorted and get an education. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like that would be a fundamental, for human rights. But there are many, many countries where an ideology, which is now spreading here, by the way, exists that says, oh no, it's cultural. You have to suppress, kill, maim, own as property, and otherwise abuse women. I don't respect a cultural belief like that. Do you? Okay, so I said I wasn't going to get political. But isn't this more about a cultural issue? What else do we have here that won't get me upset? We have massive flooding in Louisiana. Yeah. 1,000 rescued. I saw this on the news last night. Some serious flooding. They haven't had a big hurricane like Katrina, but they are dealing with some massive floods. I have flood insurance on my home up in Oregon because we're next to a river estuary. Let's see what's going on in Parade magazine. I never get the Sunday paper, but they get it here where I'm staying at the moment. And I remember when I was a kid, there was Parade magazine in the Sunday paper. It's nice to know that some things don't change. Are there any important or interesting stories in Parade? Oh, this looks interesting. A big dragon with a blonde on top. You should know what that's about, right? It's the Khaleesi, called the Mother of Dragons. She's riding, it's the series Game of Thrones. And it says here, dragons have fascinated us for centuries, whether protecting Camelot or terrorizing hobbits. This feels like the year of the dragon, especially this summer. There's a little Pokemon Go thing. Pokemon Go. I guess you try to find certain dragon characters. I kind of like that Pokemon is making a comeback, you know. I like some of those little characters. Maybe someday we'll do, I'm going to write this down because my memory's so bad. Maybe we'll get some Pokemon cards and discuss them sometime in an ASMR video. Because when my kids were small, that's when Pokemon was really popular. And they knew all the characters, and they would show them to me on their cards, you know. And some of them were quite amusing. So they had different powers, you know. I have the power to freeze you, or, you know, put you to sleep, or make you disappear, whatever. What's it say about this dragon that Khaleesi is on? Is she a blonde in real life? Or is that just in the series? You Game of Thrones fans. I watched something like the first 3 or 4 years of it, and then I started getting bored because they're not ever getting to the point like who's going to win the throne and all the kingdoms, right? But I love the opening music and graphics, don't you? Especially if you do it in a full quadraphonic stereo. Well, it's really not quad, it's 6 or 7 channel. But it says here, no shortage of dragons. Thank you, AC, for going off. No shortage of dragons in this epic TV series. In 2016, Targaryen, Emilia Clarke, that decimated her enemies while flying on the back of a dragon. That's her name, but she's also called the Khaleesi, right? Expect the woman known as the Mother of Dragons, along with a huge army, to hit Westeros when the show returns for its 7th season in the summer of 2017. Well, that's still a long way off. Hello, it says here, my name is Reunion Fever. My name is Reunion. What's that about? Oh, It's reunion season. Love them or hate them, they're one hot topic. I missed my 40th class reunion because I was taking my dad to my house in Oregon that week. But I don't know whether I really wanted to go or not. Class reunion organizers, what do you think about class reunions? I'm curious to know. Somebody tell me. Whether it's driven by curiosity or the need to size up social support or the fear of missing a popular party, that question needs to be answered. What question? Oh, how many will come? Attendance above 30% is a big turnout. But attendance can go much higher for the 10th, the 25th, and the 50th. Oh, see, I still have a shot. The 50th reunion will come up in a few years. Noises in the background caused a slight delay. All right. Anyway, I have a few years to ponder whether to go to the next reunion. And on the back here, it says, Marie Osmond lost 50 pounds. See? How did she do it? She did it on what? Nutrisystem? Yeah. I tried Nutrisystem, and I can tell you that eating Alpo or some other dog food brand might be an equivalent experience. So, that's my editorial comment. I think you're better off getting exercise and eating normal, healthy food, okay? No gimmicks. Besides, Nutrisystem is loaded with soy protein, and that can have some unfortunate side effects, by the way. Oh, my throat is better. Now I can talk. I'm gonna have to sip more often, huh? Add some wow to your vows. Put a rainbow on her finger. You're showing a wedding band that's all opals, right? If you had somebody whose birthstone was opal and you were going to get married, maybe that would be an appropriate kind of ring. My daughter just had a little baby girl, and her birthstone is emerald. So she named her baby girl Emerald, which I think is quite appropriate and cute. I won't bore you with baby pictures. I'll try not to. But I just saw her a few hours after she was born, earlier this week. And the little baby Emma, Emmeline, Emerald, I'm going to have to think of some good nicknames for her, is very cute. Of course, you know, we're always biased, aren't we, about our children and grandchildren. But, you know, I have seen some very wrinkly, ugly babies. Did I say that? In my day. That, you know, they come out all mottled and gray looking and, you know, beet red and all scrunched up and wrinkly, and some of them. But this baby was really beautiful right from the start. Very healthy, very curious. Right away with the eyes open, looking around, you know, looking at everything, all curious, fascinated. And you have to get right up close to them, because they can only see you about a foot away. So when they're first born, so you have to get right up like this, talk quiet to them, because they've been in an ASMR environment for months. Dark, liquidy, warm, quiet, and just floating around, all peaceful like. And so you don't want to shock them with loud, obnoxious, sounds the way some people do with babies. Shining amid scandal at UC Davis. Do you know that the chancellor, all right, I'll talk local politics just a tiny bit. The chancellor of the University of California was spending millions of dollars inappropriately doing personal travel, first class, all over the world, every country, hiring PR firms to try to cover it up when she was caught, spending $300,000 to try to cover it up, on and on. And all this while poor students see their tuition rates skyrocketing year after year to pay for this kind of nonsense. Do you know what her punishment was? This abuser of student tuition and taxpayer money, who was treating herself to royal treatment at every turn, not doing her job, but instead spending billions on luxury. Her punishment is a year off with pay. No, not a year off without pay. A year off with pay. Now, if you did terrible malfeasance on your job and you were caught, do you think your employer would say to you, "Oh, bad employee, you know what your punishment's going to be? A paid vacation for a year, okay?" That's how it works, though, if you're in the government, right? Unbelievable to me. Anyway, I don't like the obituary page, so we'll skip that one. I won't look at all these folks who died, because it reminds me of how short life can be. I like to look at their ages and say, okay, the average age, can I calculate how many years I have left in my life? Based on, but we never know. And I'm doing good, because a lot of these folks live to their 90s. So, here's one that just died that was born the same year as me. 1 month away. Let's read her obit. Everett Gretchen Ann. I'll show you. She didn't look very old, see? That one, Everett Gretchen Ann. That was kind of fast, huh? Let me show you slower. That lady there, okay? It says, in a rowdy family of 11 siblings, she was the gentle one, the 7th child born with a sweet disposition. I was the oldest, and I had 5 siblings. I thought my family was big. By the way, I spent my childhood taking care of all those younger ones. She had a bright intellect and so much potential. She wanted to become a journalist, travel the world, and tell its stories. But a ravaging mental illness made that impossible. Okay, sorry, I'm getting depressed now. So, not because I have a mental illness, although I very well might, but it just pushes a button. Okay. Former newsman is now top dog at the Sacramento SPCA shelter. Everything here is making noises. That was the ice maker in the refrigerator. Sorry about that. Where were we? The pup sitting on Ken Alteen's lap at the SPCA was a mystery, wrapped in a scruffy blonde package. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this guy was a newsman, and now he's working to save animals. I think that's a noble endeavor, because I love animals too. Alright, are we done with that? What else do we have here? Feast. The best apps for food lovers. Everything is an app now, even your recipes. You can get them all on your iPhone. You can get entire recipe books on your iPhone that's searchable. That looks pretty good. I don't know about the color rendition, but yeah, pretty good. Pretty healthy. Tell me, should I do a mukbang video, ASMR? Enjoy eating a meal while I tell you about it. Tell me if you want me to do one, and I will. World's best barbecue. Where is it? Piggy Park. Piggy Park. I like that. I haven't seen this personally. It's in Charleston, South Carolina, a state I have not been to, but would like to visit. I want to go down to the coastal area, probably in the winter time though. It's pretty hot, humid there in the summer. Yes, it's summer, but you can't wear those shorts in here. Do you go to restaurants that have a dress code? Personally, if I have to get all formally dressed up to go to dinner, I don't want to go. Okay, that's just me. I had enough of that in my business life. Getting all dressed up for important customer meetings or things like that, dinners, you know. I'm not into that. We're out of cereal. I'm looking at the comics. And the kid says, "You're kidding, again?" But he's the one eating the giant bowl of cereals. That's a little commentary on teenagers who eat you out of house and home when they're growing. See, I haven't seen the comic page in decades because I don't get the paper. And I'm happy to see we still have Dennis the Menace. Wow, there's even Beetle Bailey, which that comic started in the 30s or 40s or something. Beetle Bailey. So I'm amazed that some of these comics are still going after all these decades. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in the Sunday paper. Here's the business section. It says here, shoppers are shelling out more in 2016 because retailers are cutting prices, right? Back to school spending surge. Well, I'm past that point where I have to have my children buying books and clothes and backpacks. Do you think it would be inappropriate for me to buy a Dora the Explorer backpack to carry my stuff around in? I think that might look a little weird, huh? Okay. Just kidding. Okay. Tech devices now essential for college. I think this is going to say that all the textbooks and things are being replaced with iPads where they download all the books, stuff like that. That's good because the college textbook business is the most colossal scam on earth. What they do is they update it every year, even if there's no change, and then the college makes you go out and buy an $80 textbook that's exactly the same as last year's textbook, which they don't let you use because they know you could get it for $10 from a previous student. So why do they want you to spend $80 on one book? Obviously, because they get a kickback from the bookseller who makes it in China for $3 and sells it to the student for $80. The poor, starving student who's eating a cup of noodles for dinner every night, 39 cents, right? So I'm glad if iPads are replacing textbooks, really. What else? Yeah. Oh yeah, see? The evil Walmart has their back to school display going on there. School buys. Now, I do buy things at Walmart from time to time, but there's a little inside joke about evil Walmart, so home sales. Wow. This thing here shows you how much houses are selling for in each county and how many sold and the addresses. That seems a little personal to me. I'm not sure I like that. We didn't have that back in Scotts Valley. See, it shows you every address in every county that sold and how much it sold for. Isn't that interesting? If you're interested in real estate, then that becomes interesting. So like in Orangevale, wait, let's see. It doesn't say the average, but you can look at areas like Fruit Ridge, maybe 200,000 average. But then you look down in Elk Grove, and it's more like 350,000. So about 60% more, it looks like. Rancho Cordova, 400,000 roughly. Wow, that used to be a real slum. Excuse me, sorry folks who live in Rancho Cordova. I don't mean any insult, but I used to go work there at one of the suppliers in the rocket science business. And, let's see what Folsom is. About 420,000, okay? Well, where I came from, Scotts Valley, typical home, standard old 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I'm gonna bore you again. It was around almost $1 million, okay? Public policy, California Forum. Public policy must address technology's impact. This is a little bit like saying human beings need to breathe air. Elon Musk, head of Tesla and SpaceX, seeks more California gold. What does that mean? Is he looking for another big supplement from the government? Yep, he is. He's mad because he wants another giant supplement since he makes electric cars. He wants to collect $3,000 per car. I'm not sure that's fair. Oh, Tesla markets those credits to manufacture, collecting $14,000 for each car it sells, and they still lose money on every car. Tesla is a great car, make no mistake. It's a fantastically excellent, innovative, technically advanced, probably the most technologically advanced car on the road, and it also is blistering fast. But it's only wealthy people that can afford it, and even at that, they're getting a giant supplement from the government. So I'm wondering, and they still lose money on every car they sell. So I'm wondering, is it fair to take tax money from poor working schmoes who are making $10 an hour, right, at some minimum wage job, to take money from them and give it to wealthy people to buy their $100,000 Tesla? I'm not sure that's really fair, but that's the system. And Elon Musk is complaining because he wants more of the same, all right? So that his company can get a big piece of government pie to be more successful. Why can't they do it on their own, I say? Okay, big price reductions on outdoor equipment. You know what I like? I like it when women wear pink jogging shoes. That's really off the wall, isn't it? Isn't that a random comment? I just like that look, that's all. And no, I don't have a foot fetish, okay? But, see, you can get a nice kayak for only $199. Wait, where is it? It's on that side. Kayaks. You can get a tent for $36. A prospector tent. In case you go looking for gold. from the hills of California, in the mountains. Ooh, look at all these guns. Wow. I don't know if a bad guy, if you were to pull this to scare off a bad guy, I don't know if he'd be scared. If your gun was, let's see if we can show it here. If your gun was pink, see that one? If your gun was pink, would it scare off a bad guy? That's a CO2 pellet gun. But, yeah, this is kind of a scary looking. Yeah, I don't want to get into the Second Amendment today either. And it seems like, in the end, almost everything somehow relates to politics, right? Oh, look here. This is a scary thing. This is how my mind works. It kind of wanders. That's the Aspie in me. We have here a scale. And what's scary about it is, when I see this, I think about measuring my waistline. Since I don't have a pound scale here, or a kilogram scale here, I think this is how I can see how I'm doing with my health and fitness program. It just occurred to me, we've got centimeters on this side, we got inches on this side, and they say, and then, well, you know, am I turning red? Someone told me sometimes I get beet red and I look like a shrimp. Okay, when that happens. Oh, wow. Oh, I thought it was a really good deal, but it's not. I'm looking at used cars. I didn't see it right. I thought that said $12.88 for that Ford Focus, but it says $72.88. Okay, so car's too small for me, but I'm driving a full-size car these days, a Mazda 6. I love the car. It's very athletic. A couple hundred horsepower, but it feels like a more powerful. They were clever how they set up the transmission. Great acceleration. Now I'm talking in an Aspie way to you again. Oh, look. California Traveler. I am quite familiar with this place. Ghirardelli Square. Let me show you. This is where I used to take my girlfriend way back in high school. We would cut school and we would drive up to San Francisco and go to the wharf, and we would go to Ghirardelli Square, stuff like that. That's a view of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz Island, where they used to have the prisoners, right, on Alcatraz. And here's the Ghirardelli Square. Some of you may know they make very good chocolate there, Ghirardelli chocolate. Oh, they show it. They show it there. See? But Ghirardelli Square has all kinds of shops and places, you know, it's kind of touristy, but a good place to take someone on a date, though. Ghirardelli's past catches up with its future. It was founded on the cocoa bean in 1852. Italian entrepreneur Domenico Ghirardelli opened a confectionery company that calls itself America's oldest continuously operating chocolate maker. And really, who doesn't like chocolate? It says here. Well, I certainly like chocolate. In fact, I'm going to go to the store today and find some 70% cacao chocolate because it's got great antioxidants in there and it tastes good. But first I have to sip. Man, this is going to be a long video. But that's okay because hopefully you'll be asleep by now. Alright everyone, whatever you do, don't ASMR and drive. And by the way, I'm gonna come back. I did a one-table tournament, Poker Online Omaha, like I told you in my previous video I would. But I couldn't comment on it while I was playing it because that's too much multitasking. So I will, but I did film it with one hand somehow on my laptop. So I'm going to play it and comment on it as it plays and upload that within the next week or so, okay? And then I can show you the game of Omaha. All right. Take care, everybody. Don't ASMR and drive. Bye-bye.